get bigger in terms of money, and the players will be no worse off. We'll see where that argument goes. We'll see where those negotiations go. Other challenges that we face are, I'm sure most of you have one of these. This is an iPhone, or you have a BlackBerry, or you have a Droid, or whatever you have today. We have a lot of applications for that in business. A lot of fun things you can do. This phone I have right here, this iPhone, I have an application on here that goes direct to my DirecTV account. And when I'm on the road with the Broncos, I can pull up all the other games and watch it on this thing, provided my 3G network isn't clouded or whatever it is. But you know what I'm trying to say. But literally, I have that application, and it's actually pretty phenomenal when I turn on. There it is. I'm in Philadelphia 4 weeks ago, and watching 3 other games, and just changing in and out, and sitting in that stadium while we're playing, and I can have fun doing that. It's an incredible application. There's a lot of stuff like that in the digital world that we're trying to get our hands around, and we're trying to figure out how to monetize it. It's the same with the internet. We have banner ads just like some of your websites do, and we do some programs. Subscription stuff is frankly not all that popular, because there are other avenues for people to go to get information, frankly. So we're struggling. If I had spoke to you 10 years ago, I would have said the same thing, or maybe not 10 years ago, but 8 years ago, is we're trying to figure this out. And here we are 8 years later, and we're trying to figure out how to best utilize the digital assets, the web assets, and to monetize it, I'll be honest with you. And if Dean Singleton, the publisher of the Post, were in here, he'd be telling you he's going through the same exercise right now. I do know this: we get a lot of attention on the internet. If you go to the Denver Post, which I do just to take the temperature every now and then, if you go to their website and you click on the Denver Broncos news stories, you'll see a little paren at the end of the title of the story that tells you how many comments are being made on a Broncos story, or on a story about Governor Ritter resigning or not running again or whatever. And we're tracking a lot of comments, and so we're driving a lot of business to that site. And now we've got to figure out a way. We're driving a lot of business to our site too. We got to figure out a way to keep those people in the fold, bring them to games, get them to buy the tickets, all that kind of stuff. And that's a big challenge. I'll touch briefly on a couple of other things, and then I'll go back to the CBA, and then you can fire at me with questions. And I'll answer anything that you fire at me if I can. The league is looking at international expansion, and I worked there from 90 to 98, and I never quite got it, because I would go as an advanced guy from the NFL office to help direct and operate games in Japan and Barcelona and Monterrey, Mexico. And while it was exciting to have these one-off events in these countries, there weren't a whole lot of people playing the game, which is different from basketball and baseball and some of their international expansion efforts, and hockey as well. We don't have a lot of people playing American football in Japan or England. And yet, the league is sort of hell-bent for leather on advancing this initiative, and they're going to play 2 games next year in London, regular season games. Someday they'll be playing regular season games in Mexico. Someday they'll be playing a regular season game in Japan or China. And someday we'll have an 18-game schedule or a 17-game schedule where one of those weeks is dedicated to international games and or games at neutral sites in this country or Canada, which is international, I guess, or things along that line. So that's a big picture expansion that I see happening, and smarter minds than mine understand the growth potential. There is potential in television and licensing over in some of those countries, but the grassroots nature of that getting people to play our sport is still very much in the infant stages, I think. I mentioned 18 games. Right now, we have 20 games. We have 4 preseason and 16 regular season, and I think it would be better for everybody, except possibly the players, and I respect this, if we went from 2 preseason games, and then from 4 to 2, and from 16 to 18. I think that's a model that you'll probably see in our league sooner rather than later. So, I don't have much else on the business side other than, again, I thank you, those of you that are in here that do support us, for supporting us. It's meaningful. We all at the Broncos, from Pat Bolin on down, are as frustrated and disappointed as the way the season ended out. I do feel good about the direction we're headed, and I tell you that honestly. Our coach is a young guy who I think brings a philosophy to the table that requires mental toughness and a team-first philosophy. And he will not sway or waver from that, and I don't think he should. And if you get inside our locker room or get inside our building and understand around the league what the best teams have done, what it takes to win, I think he's got the right approach. I believe he's got the right approach, and I hope that that rings true and it pays out for all of you that support us, and we have some good seasons ahead for us. So with that, I'll open up the door to question. Yes, sir.
I sit in the East End, and there are Bronco fans all around me, and I think they pay the same as people in West End. But we see a lot of backward heads during pregame proceedings and during halftime. Everything plays for the West. Is there any reason you can't play for the East End?
In terms of the festivities, it's a fair question. And honest one, I'll take it into consideration. I will tell you that a lot of it goes to the television camera placements so that you get it up on the scoreboard. If we could do something that rotates around, I understand exactly what you're saying. What the question was, can you aim some of your ceremonies towards the east stands instead of the west? We aim towards the west, largely for television purposes and screen purposes, for our video cameras up on the scoreboard. So we'll look at it. I understand your complaint. I appreciate you raising it. Yeah.
I would respond to your answer by saying television is halftime shows and advertising during the halftime and advertising right up until
I didn't follow that. Say again.
Television is in halftime shows and ads during halftime, is an ads during the quarter breaks, and is an ad right up until.
Right. I understand. What I was saying is that we're shooting our stadium cameras from those angles upstairs on the west 300 level down to the field, and that's why we're directing the stage where we do. Yes?
Your Powell, I just wondered, I know during the Pittsburgh game, there was a lot of concern that the season ticket holders were selling tickets to other fans. I know from a business standpoint, that's a difficult proposition. How are you guys dealing with that with the long season pass list of people who want to have season passes, people that are coming to Colorado, trying to be involved in there, but these people that hold on to the tickets for sales or business purposes?
Let me just say the question again. I think the question was, at many games this season, and frankly, last season and seasons past, a couple of seasons past, and now seasons moving forward, you're seeing a lot more visiting team fans in our building, and you see our season ticket holders selling their seats to those fans. Is that more or less what you're saying? And how do we, the Broncos, feel about it, and how are we going to address it?
Well, I think the challenge, of course, is not just that, because that's regional, but then you have huge lists in Denver for season tickets for other fans maybe that live in Denver, like to Denver, but don't have the opportunity because other people are taking that business.
Well, if you have a season ticket, let me answer that this way. If you have a season ticket, you have the opportunity and the right. It's a right by law now to resell your ticket at any price you want. With the exception of, I think, in the city of Denver, you can't walk down to the street with your tickets in your hand and flip your seats for a profit. But anywhere else on the internet,